LinkedIn inboxes are more crowded than ever. Most people think that outreach is dead, but I just built a message that booked one of my clients 3 calls, sales calls every single day, and very similar messaging books us about 35 sales calls every single day for our business. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact message, why it works, and how you can copy it for literally any niche in 2026. Here you go. Also, I've built and sold a LinkedIn marketing company that I've been running for the past 2.5 years. So as we speak, we have over 100 clients for this company. And so if you need any help with any LinkedIn related messaging, or if you want to shoot me over your pitch or your offer on Instagram, I'll be happy to quickly review it and give you my 2 cents. Let me make something very clear. LinkedIn as a platform is not dead. It simply fails because people send bad messages. Fake openers like, I hope you're doing well, or only talking about your services without adding some type of personalization. Pitching in the first message, or long messages, generally over 400 characters, will almost always get you either a not interested respond or people that just don't respond at all. When you send a message on LinkedIn, decision makers scan the message, your specific message, within 5 to 10 words. And those words come up right at the very beginning. So if you say, hey Josh, I hope you're doing well, that's half of the messages that you should be sending. But rather, if you send a message saying, hey, are you open to landing more clients? Instantly what that does is that piques the interest of the prospect that you're reaching out to. You want to hook them with a message and a good subject line. Some popular subject lines is hi, first name. Something that doesn't sound like you're selling them and you sort of want to connect with them. One of my favorite ones as well is client intro. Like let's say you're a marketing company, you want to write client intro. Right in the headline, they see the message and your message says, hey John, I can do outbound marketing for you to intro you to some clients. Client intro. It makes them open the message, makes them believe it's a referral. It's something that's open-ended, that's in the air, that makes the prospect even interested to look at the message. Don't waste the first line. The first line is probably one of the most important things. Saying, hey John, my team and I work with company, nobody cares. Nobody cares what your team does. They don't care about what it is that you do. They don't care about what you're selling. They don't care about your product. They don't care about the features. What they want to see, and the only thing that should be in your message, is X result. So rather than saying, hey, I help you staff people through AI and I vet every single person through an AI system that can then determine if nobody cares. Nobody cares. What they care about is saying, hey John, I have 5 applicants right now that can talk to you this second. Do you want to talk to them? Boom, easy. That's if you're a staffing company, use that. Now that's the spiel of what you should and what you shouldn't do, but here's some simple fixes that you can apply right now to your messaging that'll increase reply rates drastically. Cut all the fluff. The more things that you say, the more the prospect has to read, the higher the barrier to entry is of them booking a call. For example, if they have to read a message that's this long, right at the very end of it, it says, hey, here's my calendar, then that means they have to read a really long message before booking a call. But if the message was shorter and they had to read a very short message that's concise and gets to the point, then the chances are of them clicking on your calendar link and booking a call with you increases drastically. And the largest mistake, and this is my biggest pet peeve with every single outbound message, this isn't just about LinkedIn, this is about LinkedIn, Instagram, X, everything, is that you need to talk about them, not about you. Nobody cares about your achievements and what you've done. And unless you are a really big shot that's invested in thousands of companies and you want to say, hey, my firm invested in 10,000 companies and we want to invest into you, unless it's something like that, nobody's going to really care. They don't care about what companies you've sold or what you've done. If you telling them about yourself doesn't physically benefit them and make them say, okay, this is good, they've done this before, then don't include it. The best thing that you want to do is you want to say, hey, I just recently helped a company that's similar to yours. Can I show you what we did with them? That's the easiest message for them to say yes. And then from that point forward, you can have a setter, somebody go into the inbox and pretty much message them back and say, okay, great, yeah, I have this time available, here's my calendar, and essentially have that conversation with the prospect. Talk about them. Don't ever talk about yourself. The more you talk about yourself, the less credible you become, but the more that you talk about them and personalize what the message is about them, the better. Saying, hey John, I partner with companies, as opposed to saying, hey John, I partner with consulting firms and you only reach out to consulting firms, that makes your message personalized. Even if you're not using AI, even if you're not genuinely personalizing it and that every single message is different, you can still craft a message specific to the person that you're reaching out to get a higher response rate. The other most important thing is you need to identify their goal or their pain, 1. And 2, if you're not identifying their goal or their pain, you sound really casual. Okay, so identifying a goal or a pain, if you're using that strategy, essentially what you'd have to do is you'd have to send a message that tackles a really specific pain point. Usually, most of the time, it has to do with making the company more money or saving them more money. I'll give you an example. Let's say there's a company and they host everything on AWS, and let's say it costs a lot of money to host everything on AWS. You can reach out to somebody as a cloud services company and you can say, hey, we provide you with everything that AWS provides you with, and we can transfer everything for you, but it's a lot cheaper. And that simple message right away shifts a pain point where it's like, holy crap, we're paying a lot of money for AWS, so using them would save us money, and that's a pain point. Or you're very casual about it. For example, one of the best casual messages you can say is, hey James, I just helped insert company name, and you have to do this very specifically. Like, you might say, hey, I just helped Josh at this company. You might be reaching, and Josh is like a consultant or something, and then you're reaching out to somebody who's another consultant, and then you might say, hey, I just helped Josh, another consultant, here's his LinkedIn profile, go from getting 0 booked calls to 30 booked calls every single month, and I'd love to show you how I did it. Feel free to find a time here. I can share my screen. That message will crush on LinkedIn. And feel free to always use soft CTAs. You don't want to send a message that says, if this sounds interesting, let's book a call. What that essentially means is if you're interested in buying, let's book a call. You don't want to make it seem like they have to buy something or do something to join the sales call with you. Using terms like collaboration, using terms like partnerships will get you a lot more responses. If you send a message and you say, I work with consulting firms, and then you create another message, let's say test B, and then that message says, I partner with consulting firms, the one that says partner will get a lot more responses, because the second you say work, that means you want to get paid, and that's why you're reaching out to them. It sounds like you want to sell them something. Stop sounding like a salesperson and sound like you're somebody who wants to connect with them, who wants to have a genuine conversation, and figure it out. The companies and clients that do the worst are companies and clients that don't want to create and establish a relationship first. They want to create messaging that's very salesy in a way, and then they believe that that message will then get them clients, when in reality, the less friction that you have in your sales process and your messaging, the more deals that you're going to close. Your whole entire process, your pitch, and pretty much everything that you do shouldn't even feel like a sales pitch. Like, you're not selling them anything. It should not feel like a sales call. It should feel like a casual thing that you're doing all the time. Like, hey John, if you want this, we can obviously continue. So really is up to you. But if I was you, I'd probably recommend this package, not this package. And then boom, just call it a day. And then most importantly, keep messages under around 50 words or 400 characters. Sending a long message never really works. People on LinkedIn and just everywhere pretty much have a very short attention span, and you sort of want to play into that rather than having them read a whole entire paragraph before even being able to communicate to you. And the less, in fact, information that you give, sometimes the better, because that's what sparks curiosity, and they wouldn't want to learn more if you gave them everything in the first message. The goal is to reduce friction as much as possible here and make replies pretty much effortless. And here's the exact framework that I would use to land the most amount of clients. There's 2 ways that you can run LinkedIn outreach. Either you personalize every single message and you pretty much set everything up yourself and you're the person behind the scenes messaging everyone. That's the cheaper way to do it, and that's the really good barrier to entry to test out your offer, to see if it works in the market, to validate it, and to do it at a very good cost, right? And it won't cost you anything. And then the other way to do it is to do mass outreach. That means you collect a bunch of LinkedIn accounts, you slap Sales Navigator on it, you start sending a bunch of emails to open profiles. What an open profile is a profile that is a premium account, or you get a bunch of Sales Navigator accounts and you start sending messages to open profiles. When you have LinkedIn Sales Navigator specifically advanced, what LinkedIn limits you to is about 50 to 100 emails that you can send every single month. And if you only reach out to open profiles, which are LinkedIn premium members, you can go from sending 100 emails per month to sending 800 emails per month. You effectively 8x your output per LinkedIn account and book 8x more calls just through emails. And based on our testing at my company, sending connection messages as opposed to sending emails book around 90 to 95% of all of our calls. Connection messages book less. So strategy number 2 is to add as much LinkedIn accounts as possible. And either way, you should have a LinkedIn Sales Navigator account sending InMails, because InMails are powerful, and only send it to users that have the golden LinkedIn logo right next to their name, because that means that they're a LinkedIn Premium member. And when you do send them an InMail, you will not use up any of your 50 to 100 credits that LinkedIn gives you, and you're gonna send a free InMail, which allows you to send that 800 mark. Tools like HeyReach, tools like Zopto, and tools like Join Valley all allow you to be able to send InMails only to open profiles. Now, drum roll please. This is the exact framework that I would use if you're new to LinkedIn and you want to get a bunch of people to respond to you and a bunch of people to book sales calls with you. Are you ready? You're gonna send a message and you're gonna say, hey, first name, crazy idea for getting company name, desired outcome, -1 second. So to put that into translation, you might say, hey John, I have a crazy idea that can get John's Consulting to 30 sales calls every single day. And then you proceed to say, can I send you a voice note? Or you proceed to say, can I share this with you? And then basically when they say yes, you're gonna grab your phone, and then right away what you're gonna do is you're gonna send a voice note. You're gonna acknowledge them as a whole. Hey John, yeah, I'm just sending a voice note here quickly because I thought this would be a lot easier. I noticed your background in the fintech space, and that's why I'm reaching out here. But I just wanted to say that I'm getting lots of these messages, and I wanted to reach out to you first just because I thought this would really work for you. I'm gonna send you over a case study, and I'll walk you through exactly how to scale your company and get it booking, let's say 30 calls every single day. The way that I do this is by implementing an AI system that does XYZ, blah, 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 blah. And then pretty much don't give them everything, but just kind of give them a small pitch and then just say, hey, here's my calendar if you're open to it. Or even better yet, maybe a better idea would be just to, very shortly say exactly what you would do. And then you would just send them your calendar right after and just say, hey, if this sounds intriguing, here's my calendar link. And that way you get a lot of people to want to interact with you. And then you send the voice note right away. The most important thing there is to respond as quickly as possible to every single message that you get, so you don't lose any interested prospects. So this is a personalized message, and most people on LinkedIn that get messages actually don't get it from the same person that they're going to talk to on the sales call, my company included. So if you could be that person that says, hey, I just want to share my screen with you if that's okay, and we can jump on a quick call, almost like this is your first time doing this, then a lot of people will probably jump on that sales call with you. And this message really outperforms for that reason. And what's the result of this message? This brings you more replies because it's really easy to say yes to such a short message. It brings better conversations because it's you throwing the idea out rather than pitching them right away. That leads to more calls. Now that's the messaging strategy that I would personally use if I was new to business and I wanted to validate my ideas. Probably sign a couple more clients doing this. Now there's two ways to do this as mentioned. There's automating it by adding a lot more accounts, or there's the manual process, which requires really a couple of accounts to do this. Now, what it looks like with that automation is you have to use Sales Navigator or the LinkedIn search bar to build a lead list of prospects you want to reach out to. Then you send them all connection requests. And then once they accept the connection request, and by the way, don't add any messages to the connection request. If you add nothing, you're more likely to get accepted. Once they accept it, then what you do is you scan the profile manually, and then quickly, based on their company, identify who they might target, like what their ideal client would be. And then you write personalized messages saying, hey, I work with companies that sell to the B2B sector, for example, or that sell to ed tech companies. And then you essentially just record voice notes. This works, don't get me wrong, but it's slow when it doesn't scale. The easiest way to scale it is to have one person who records everything, and you have a bunch of LinkedIn accounts. When I say a bunch, I mean you can have anywhere between 5 to 10 LinkedIn accounts. You can ask your friends, you can ask anybody that you know. Just make sure the account is real and make sure the account is optimized. If it's not optimized, it won't get much responses, and if it's not real, it's gonna get blocked by LinkedIn. And you would still send that same exact message, and then you would use a platform like HeyReach, which by the way, we get a massive discount on. So if you want to try out the HeyReach platform, let me know, I can get you massive discounts there. And basically you set up automated messages through LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I have a video explaining how to do this through AI through a platform called Join Valley. Feel free to look at that video down in the description. And essentially you bring two people on your team, one that's a male, one that's a female. The female will manage all the female accounts and send voice notes for the females. The male will manage all the male accounts and send the voice notes for the male accounts. And basically you would just manually go through that process then, but you can automate it essentially, and you can bring SDRs whose whole goal is to book that appointment and essentially send people to your calendar. If you want me to jump on a quick call with you and set this up with you, feel free to follow my Instagram down in the description below and send me a DM. Let me know you came from this video and you want help setting up this platform. But I hope this video helped you. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to learn how to do this, again, Instagram is in the description below. Drop me a like, follow if you want, or don't, doesn't really matter. Awesome, enjoy your day.